Happy Saturday morning. Enjoy for the reality of real estate. See what she did there. She is Cynthia Hash of Find Homes Realty, and you find them on Facebook at Find Homes USA. If you're on Facebook looking for the social media and all this infotainment that she puts together for you, so you know and I found it. I looked it up. It was actually a couch, a convertible sofa store in New York City used to run an ad, and their ad slogan was "An informed consumer is our best customer," and that seems to be how Cynthia rolls each and every week. How are you doing this morning?
Yeah. Hey, doing great, doing great. How about you?
Oh, it's a busy time. It's a great time for that. I mean, there's so much to do. Everyone is kind of in a festive mood, and they all want to see and talk with you. Don't you? I'm sure you, in your world, you've got all sorts of people.
Well, what's interesting is a lot of people want to take, I have a client right now that says, block off, Christmas, the whole Christmas week. And I'm like, yeah, but I mean, really? We might sell it on, Christmas Eve.
Wow, wouldn't that be something too? Buy
hmm
a house on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, and I've had it happen.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah,
I guess,
mhm.
this is why, we turn to you for the experience because I wouldn't be looking at a house on Christmas Eve, but doesn't mean nobody else is.
Well, here's the fun part about it. You got families that are getting together from all over the country, all over the world sometimes.
Hmm.
And they, they come and they've been for years and they've been wanting to move. And then now they're in a position all of a sudden to be able to do that. But they're
Hmm.
only here during Christmas or during New Year's or during Thanksgiving or whatever.
Hmm.
And so a realtor has to kind of be available even those times as well. And so those are if you're not, you kind of miss an opportunity to help
hmm
somebody actually do what they've been dreaming about doing for years.
I bet one good set of traffic stops on I-95 getting to visit grandkids will convince somebody to say, we should move closer to them.
Yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it for sure. But I tell
Well,
you, we have I mean, what is it? Five days to Christmas,
yeah.
and I, and I have to admit, I've wrapped no presents.
Now, you
Eh,
see, my mother-in-law, she was a bear about this. Nothing got wrapped, nothing got out under the tree, nothing. It was all hidden from the kids, especially when they were little, and it made Christmas Eve a chore. Because you know my world, I'm up at 2 o'clock in the morning. So midnight on Christmas Eve, when the kids are finally asleep, I'm there trying to keep my eyes open, wrapping packages because it's time to get everything together because we can't do it before so that they wake up. My mother-in-law always wanted that aha, come out and there was
mhm.
nothing under the tree last night. Now there's everything under the tree. She always wanted that.
Yeah, well, I prefer to have it all wrapped and in a closet somewhere,
Okay.
and then you're ready. You're more ready, and you're not exhausted Christmas morning.
Uh,
But hey,
that's
some
why
of that's Saint Nicholas's, that's
obligations. Yeah.
obligation right there.
This is why you're smarter than me, and that's why we turn to you for the reality of real estate, for a place for that tree. So, what's on your mind this week, Cynthia?
Well, we have housing forecasts that are really actually pretty good. The National Association of Realtors, there are early signals that we're living in right now for the 2026 market that isn't bad. I mean, it looks like, you figure it. People think how much can be done on my own without paying a realtor, okay? But I want to give you the truth of the matter, and that is this is a little bit piggybacking on last week. 91% of sellers sold with the assistance of a real estate agent.
Wow.
That was even up a percentage or two from last year.
Well, that's
Pre
good.
yes. And what it's doing is it's steadily increased ever since 1985. When back in 1985, only 75% of people used an agent. And you
And
would
that's
think that 1985 wasn't an internet,
Yeah.
age, right?
Yeah, there
So
was no Godzilla or anything like that to help you.
exactly.
I mean, all you had were those signs that said for sale by owner. And every
Yeah.
now and then, if you got into the wrong neighborhood, it would be for sale by angry neighbor. But
Yeah,
somebody.
that's right. But you figure only at that point, if it was only 75%, and you would think that with the incredible internet that we have everywhere, you would think that that would be going down from 75, and keep steadily going down. But no, it's steadily been going up. So
Mm,
it's at 91% now, where sellers are using a realtor, and get this, they're about only 5% of for sale by owner, FSBO is what we call them, sales just this past year, only 5%.
oh, but that's
That's,
smart though. Maybe it just we're getting smarter that we realize, what do they say? The secret of wisdom is knowing what you don't know.
yeah, that's right. Well, at least knowing who to call,
Yeah, exactly.
you know. But this 5% at FSBOs, that's at an all-time low.
Hmm.
That's an all-time low, and you're looking at least 21% increase since 1985. That's saying a lot. That's actually proving that realtors do provide important value to the real estate transaction, even after the NAR, class action lawsuit.
Hmm.
And you can go back to episode 1 and listen to that one, because but the sellers obviously have placed high priority on probably about 3 top tasks, because about 180 tasks that a realtor typically does. The 3 top ones, though, is
Hmm.
helping market the home
Right.
to potential buyers. The second one is pricing a home competitively. And the third one is selling the home within a specific time frame. So and all under the auspice of those 3 things are where the other 180 some come from.
Sure. Wow. I
Hmm.
didn't realize it was that many things. No wonder you were getting fewer and fewer FISBOs.
Yeah, it's a lot to go through. Not only that, but you want to have vetted people going into your house, people that you know are serious, that
Hmm.
they've signed a buyer broker agreement, which I think is the best thing that came out of the class action lawsuits. That you can't show a house until you do. So you got to get to know your realtor first, and that kind of
Yep.
thing. But the use of a sales agent, it has increased to the point where I really am uh, tickled to see the difference. And I want to encourage my fellow realtors that that's what's happening, and that
Hmm.
is a good thing for us is as an industry. We just have to make sure that we follow our code of ethics, and Find Homes Realty
Yeah.
follows our own core values, and we have to know that what that is, what those are, what those mean, and how to help people. If we are coming from a standpoint of helping you as a consumer,
Hmm.
then you're gonna feel the love. Okay.
Yeah.
If we're coming from a standpoint of it's all about my commission and what I'm gonna make out of this, then you're gonna sniff that out in a heartbeat. So
Hmm.
the minute you have that gut in your that gut feeling, then that's all that they're interested in, then hey, it's time to call Find Homes Realty, because we're not going to have. We are taught. I teach all of my agents to sell from the point of helping.
Yeah.
Okay, not sell just because of the commission might be good. No, that's not what we do. we do we do a lot more than most agents will do for you, and we have a lot more we have a lot of conglomerated experience, which is amazing, and helping others.
Hmm.
And that's where our basis is, helping others. I do know that there is the December housing data, that we have out there. There are certain key data lines basically to track, for the well the last 2 weeks of December,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
right? And what they're doing is basically a like in November of 2022, for example, we were experiencing basically a pretty fast, home sales crash, like one of the historically crashing. Okay, and it was like almost like a light switch that went off, when COVID hit, and then this crash in sales, and so it looked like there were existing home sales, and this is nationwide, that were headed towards about 4 million when they had only recently, dropped maybe a tad under 5 million. But from that crash, that was epic.
Hmm.
Okay, it was so huge that it just year over year is what pretty much happened, and you were looking at way less than that ever. And so what we're hoping to see though is this comeback. And
Hmm.
because now we're looking at mortgage rates and you've got the 10-year yield and so forth. Basically, mortgage rates, I think, are probably in 2026 going to land at maybe 5.75%.
Okay. That's
And
still inexpensive money for, historically, isn't it?
it is historically. Here's the difference though. You got back in, when I bought my first house in the early 1980s, that, interest rates were 13%.
Hmm.
And I got an 11.5% and thought I got a great deal. But that same house from then to today, that same house that cost me $100,000 costs someone else today close to $400,000.
Wow.
Same house.
Yep.
And so uh, and the biggest thing here is talking about like the increase in wages. If
Hmm.
you don't have if you have inflation that's going at a much faster rate than the wages are being earned,
Hmm.
then you're SOL because you can't, there's nothing to sell.
Well,
You're
and
not
that's a
gonna.
lot of what's happening today is we're
That's right.
seeing that schism
Hmm.
growing too much, and I
Yeah.
think it's something that we all need to address. But it's why you see some of these stories in the press about housing and shortages, and now you've even got people out there pretending that they're renting other people's houses. Never mind title fraud; they're just taking pictures off of real estate websites and going on Facebook Marketplace and saying, "Hey, I can rent you this house for real cheap. Just send me $500, and we'll get you into it." I mean, the predators are out there in so many ways, Cynthia.
There are, and I would say I've never seen it so bad, and
Hmm.
I would also recommend that if you're a 30 something, you're the sandwich generation today, and
Hmm.
that is the person who, you have young children and then you have elderly parents, okay, and
Right.
so in that kind of case, just please watch out for your elderly parents because they're typically more trusting,
Hmm.
when it comes to, the phone call that comes in or the email that comes in, they're going to click on it, and that sort of thing. Just kind of maybe give them a little coaching, because we all fall for something sometimes, right?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
and this would be a preventive medicine type of thing to help folks because they even, like, some people think that reverse mortgages are horrible and
Not
and
always.
predatory.
Like with anything, the application of them is the case, right?
Exactly. That's exactly right. And so you have to uh, kind of be able to pick. the pieces of like a reverse mortgage, what is going to be best for your parent and your grandparent or whatever. And those reverse mortgages, they're not cheap. So you do have to make sure that you go through the whole thing and there's vetting people, contact us. We have, if you go to findhomesusa.com, you can go to the resources page and you'll be able to see who our lenders are that we trust in there. We have mortgage
Mhm.
lenders in there. We also have a mortgage calculator. But those are the kinds of things that we'll help you with so that you end up in the hands of someone that will be able to help you and help your grandparents or help your parents or something like that. Um, but you but you figure with mortgage spreads and how they work, you want to get somebody that's going to be able to explain it to you a whole lot better than I can. And those would be the lenders on our findhomesusa.com, uh, and go to resources and mortgage lenders. Go in there, find them. They'll be able to explain everything to you. Um, so we wouldn't have mortgage rates that are near 6% without the mortgage spreads improving.
Mhm.
Okay. So you have these unsung superheroes of the housing sector, you know, this year and how big the difference is in the past few years and so forth. But it'll be a plus for 2026. I really do believe that, and we always track this data, and historically the mortgage spreads have ranged from 1.6 to 1.8%. So if
Mhm.
today's spreads were as bad as they were at the peak of like 2023, right? Then the mortgage rates would currently be, almost a percentage point higher. Okay.
Oh, okay.
On the other hand, okay, conversely here, on the other hand, if the spreads return to their normal range, then the mortgage rates would be only about maybe a half a percent or a third of a percent lower than maybe today's level. So
Okay.
that means that the mortgage rates could be about 5.63 to 5.83. That is
Yeah.
huge. And I think if we can get to that point where we get those rates under 6%, then I think we're going to see a big, um, a big 2026 in real estate.
Well, and you're talking about hundreds of dollars a month in, that
Yeah.
lowers your monthly payment, and that's enormous for families.
It certainly can be. And when you go into what I was mentioning to you before, go into findhomesusa.com and resources. When you go into that mortgage calculator, okay, when you can put in there, basically how much you might be able to afford. It'll tell you. It's not going to give you uh, the real estate taxes and the
Yeah.
insurance, okay? But you can figure an average, house or whatever. The insurance per year is going to be about $1,500, average, okay? I'm not talking about everybody, but that would be a good place to start.
Mhm.
And your taxes, our taxes at our house, for example, have like tripled. It
Oh
is
gosh.
it is unbelievable.
Hmm.
And part of that is because of inflation and the prices that around us, the houses that are being sold. What it does with the taxes is the tax assessor is usually only one or two or three people that go around the entire area and
Hmm.
and try to evaluate how much that house is worth. Well, they're using comparables similar to what a realtor would use. Okay.
Hmm.
And so they're
Okay.
using, okay, well, this house right next door sold for X. So I'm going to make sure that the house that I'm assessing if I were the tax assessor, okay, that the
Hmm.
house that I'm assessing is going to have to go up to match that,
Right.
even
Right.
though there's been no sale of that house.
Hmm.
Okay, so what happens is it continues to go up, so that pity, okay, which I call the principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. Okay.
Oh, okay. I was going to
Yeah,
ask what that meant.
exactly. So pity, okay, if you think of the A team back in the day, and what was his name? The pity the
BA.
fool. Pity
Yeah,
the fool.
BA Baracus.
There you
Me, I
go.
know too much about 70s television.
Exactly. So basically, what you want to do is if you're elderly, or if you're a veteran, or if you are, there are ways to get those. I remember doing a whole show on this. There are ways to get your taxes reduced and get benefits from that. Okay, so just keep that in mind. But when you're doing your mortgage calculating, and you're playing around with those numbers, please make sure that you calculate in a few thousand more dollars annually in order to cover the taxes and insurance. Okay.
Okay.
And then here's the thing: when you get a mortgage, when you're dealing with a mortgage broker, they're usually almost always going to sell your loan. Okay, and so make sure you always keep your paperwork, because you're having to pay for title insurance for the for the banker, for the
Hmm.
lender. Okay, make sure you get owner's title insurance. If you're buying, and maybe even contact the company that you purchased from. Let's say you purchased 6 years ago. Okay, you want to make sure that your owner's title insurance is going to end up being the same. End up You got to make sure that you're covered
Hmm.
for as much as the house is worth now, not what it was worth 6 years ago. If
Fair.
that makes sense,
Yeah.
yeah,
No, absolutely.
yeah. Yeah, and that so if you figure we've been producing some positive, kind of weekly data,
Hmm.
okay, and I think it's going to be a pretty solid trend. So I think we need to just keep watching this, and but be prepared, because this may be the time, this may be the year in 2026 for you to buy a house,
Hmm.
because I think there's a lot more positive readings than there are negative in the marketplace today. For buyers, okay. If you're
So
a seller,
what would somebody need to be prepping now to be ready, say in springtime, to be there?
yeah, the best thing to do is, interview your agent, find an agent,
Hmm.
stick to that agent, make sure that they are knowledgeable and are going to be able to watch these things just like a mortgage lender would watch them. And form your team now
Hmm. Okay,
so
good
that
idea.
you're ready in 3 months, 6 months, whatever. That does, a lot of people think, well, I'm not going to bother, a realtor right now. Well, no, bother me.
It's not the bother. It's actually makes it,
It
it sounds like it's more of a bother if you wait to the last minute,
it
isn't it?
is. It actually is, because then all of a sudden you're not ready. So it's like you're going to a bullfight without a sword.
Have you done that before? Sounds like the voice of experience.
Ah, yeah, you don't
Not
want to
much
be
for
stuck.
bullfighting I, but I see what you're saying is you want to make sure you have everything ready. That was why I asked
Yeah.
because a lot of folks say, hey, let's the mortgage and you see these things all the time,
Hmm.
news stories about how the average two-bedroom apartment costs more than a mortgage would be for a two-bedroom house
Yeah.
or condo, and you think, well, that makes more sense. But if you're not ready, you're really going to struggle to find it.
That's exactly right. And some of the things I will say that we have to deal with every day in real estate is the affordability.
Hmm.
And that's the difficult part is there's a term called ALICE, okay? And
Oh yeah,
I believe that acronym is describing, like
it
asset limited. So they're
right.
asset limited people. And it's also describing, see, asset limited, hold on, asset
Income,
limited, income constrained, employed.
Right, exactly. We
Okay.
used to call it working poor, but they've invented the
Yeah.
acronym for it. Right.
That's what happened, yeah. And so they're largely priced out of the home buying at this at this point in time. So what you want to do is create a team that's going to stick with you for a couple years possibly in order to
Hmm.
be able to get you where you need to go. Don't change jobs unless you're staying in the same field. If you're
Really?
Yes, if you're staying in the same field, you can change your job, but don't change jobs and then go. Don't be like, okay, I'm a a vacuum salesman one quarter of the year, and then the next quarter I'm a mechanic on cars, and then the next quarter after that I'm selling motorcycles, and then on the next, don't do that. Try to stay within the same similar field,
Okay.
and I think that will help you quite a bit, especially the ones in that Alice kind of conundrum. And quite frankly, without a team helping you along the way and letting helping you with, well, how many credit cards do I need? The fewer the better, but you
But you
know,
need, I learned this when I was going through it. You need to at least have one to show your ability to pay back and things like that.
That's right. So if you stick to like three different credit cards, so let's say, I don't know, Discover and their 5% cash back or whatever they have, or maybe you have a Visa, or maybe you have, a MasterCard, have something to where they're giving you an incentive to for a particular, like you can connect those things to like your Amazon account and possibly get those
Hmm.
discounts and so forth. So it helps, be a member without paying for it, okay, at the grocery line. You know, you don't have to
Oh,
pay
yeah.
for that. Be a member. Use your coupons. Do all of the things that you can do in order to be financially, I responsible
Hmm.
and astute and so forth. So what you start that thing with your team, get it going, and then take all their advice that they can possibly give you, okay, and pay off those credit cards every single month. In other words, don't use your credit card if you couldn't sit there and pay cash for it right then.
Right. But don't close them out.
Don't close them. No, don't close them, because that's how the credit reporting agencies,
Right.
get your credit score. But buyers still need the expertise of a buyer broker. Okay.
Mhm.
And here's some of this thing. So think of this, um, three times your salary mortgage rule, okay, ish.
Okay.
So this is kind of like a guideline, okay? And what that's suggesting is that you can afford a home that is priced about three times your annual gross income.
Okay. All right. I see what you're saying.
It's just a starting point, okay? It's going
Hmm.
to be a little up or down based on what the lenders tell you. But lenders do use an even stricter, what's called a DTI, debt to income ratio.
Okay.
That's around 36 to 43%. And they consider factors like credit score, down payments, interest rates, other debts. Okay, that's debt to income. That's where that DTI comes in. And all these experts say, you know, housing costs basically should stay, quite frankly, 28 to 30% of your
Okay.
gross monthly income.
All
That's
right.
what your housing costs should be. Okay. Now, here's another one. There's this three times the salary, okay, kind of thing work. Well, you multiply your annual gross income by three, and then for example, like if you made $70,000 salary, and
Mhm.
you have a potential home price of 210,000, that's basically 70,000 times three, if that helps.
Hmm.
Okay. So now it's just a guideline. Why is that? Because you still have to contact the lender, and you still have to find out your DTI ratio. You still have to, what I'm talking about: student loans, mortgages, credit cards, cars, all that kind of stuff. And so all of these are factors that have to do with your affordability And this is the best way is to form your team, follow rules of thumb like this, and then you access your comfort level too. That plays a part.
All
Just
right.
because you qualify doesn't mean that's your comfort level.
Right.
Okay.
They say you can go to here, but is it better to be here? And that's interesting about the three times. I remember something like that when I was growing up, as well as how much even a mortgage or a rent payment should take out of a paycheck that you are going to bring home. There, Cynthia Hash is there for you, even up through I guess Christmas Eve.
That's it.
Find Homes Realty, findhomesusa.com. Cynthia, I hope you and David and the family have an amazing
Thank you.
Christmas time. And I guess we will see you the Saturday after Christmas. That doesn't
You
have a
bet.
name like the Saturday after Thanksgiving gets a cool name, but the Saturday after Christmas is just cleanup time.
I think it's yes, exactly. So we'll see you on the 27th and happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and please go to the podcast when you get a chance.